Initially, I started printing the necessary pieces using STL files that are available for free online and assembled everything up using shoe adhesive or shoe glue to make sure that it's sealed properly and it won't fall off, which started looking something like this when assembled. I then started coating up the entire surface of the printed terrain using water-damp PVA glue so that I can cover the entire thing up and coat it with paper towels to ensure that when I switch to the other phase, which is to cover it up with plaster or texture paste, I wouldn't have that plaster mixture seeping into the holes where the pieces are joined together. Regardless of how much glue you use, those cracks or crevices will stay open or enterable by the fluids that you pour on top. And once everything has dried up, I started pouring down super glue to where the joints are so that that place will have additional strength. And once the first step was over, I started making out that texture putty that I saw online using plaster, PVA glue, acrylic paint, and water to get that sludgy or muddy paste that you see right now. By the way, I must say that I'm really not happy with how it turned out. Well, the moment I used that acrylic paint, I kind of disallowed the plaster to soak in the paint or the washes that I put on top of it. I don't know the chemistry behind it, but it refused the washes that I brushed on top of it, and it was left on the surface, whereas the patches that I've put didn't fail to soak in any paint that I did. So I think that had everything to do with that acrylic paint that I had added into the putty. By then, I started applying some brushes, vertical brush strokes, to prevent those horizontal brush strokes from showing into the final product. The next step was to put it all on a styrofoam plate to carve out the lake bed using that styrofoam plate and sealed everything and glued everything together using hot glue. And this is the final result. To be quite honest with you, I was really happy with how this turned out. It did give a really good texture, and I made sure that the level was getting shallower around the shoreline and the boathouse. And then I covered everything up again using that putty. But this time I didn't add any yellow acrylic paint. And you must believe me, when I applied the washes, this was the only place that turned out okay. Didn't have to apply anything else. This was just good as it is. And here's the final result. I was really happy with it, proud of it. And even though it wasn't 3D printed, the lake bed, it still did look very realistic and convincing. So, yeah, that was a really fun process. By this time, the terraforming was done, and I was ready to move on to the next step.